Good evening, everyone. We're your host, Grant Cohn, Coach Noah Johnston. I'm in Goodyear, Arizona, which is a real name of a real city. I guess the tire company wanted to expand or something. Coach Noah Johnston holding it down in Jersey.
Yes, sir.
Jersey. Okay. So George Kittle's on injured reserve. This is surprising. I didn't see this coming. I thought he'd be – it's the same injury he's had since week one, and he's been managing it, and he played last week. But now he's out, and he's going to be out for a while. What's the first thing that comes to your head when you heard this news?
The first thing that came in my head was, oh, Jimmy's not playing? I ain't playing.
Oh, wow. I think a lot of fans think that too. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say that Kittle's deciding not to play because Jimmy's not playing, but all of a sudden he's become an enigma, and people can't really figure out what's going on. I do think – let's put away like the ulterior motives for a second. We can come to that in a minute because we're going to talk about that a lot. Let's just talk about the fact that he's injured. And now he's going to miss significant time for the second season in a row. What is George Kittle's future? I mean, I think people used to look at him as franchise cornerstone, Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor, like one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Now, how much can you expect from him on a year-to-year basis? I mean, people wrote off Jimmy Garoppolo for these reasons. You could argue that George Kittle's even more injury-prone than Jimmy.
Yeah, Kittle is like a microcosm of like the problem that's aching this team is that injuries, right? Like George Kittle is great, but he's hurt all the time, and even when he does play, he's hurt. Like so. When was the season when he was really healthy? 2019? Like, did he miss any time in 2019?
Yes, he did. He absolutely did. Hold on. Let me bring up George Kittle's stats. He took that knee, that helmet to the knee in Arizona, I think on Halloween, and missed two games. Okay, so he missed 2 games in 19, became the highest paid tight end of all time, missed 8 games last year, and is going to miss at least 3 games this year.
So, yeah, you play, and he plays that position where it's a physical position. It's, to me, they need to really change this roster and get rid of guys that are oft injured because it's becoming a nuisance every year. It's because all these things add up. When you have so many players that are oft injured players, it's just you're going to get this every year. You're going to get probability that you get injured players is just going to pop up. And George Kittle is one of them.
What's interesting though, is like, it's easy to use the injury excuse to like jettison a mediocre player like Jimmy. It's like, you're kind of lucky to have a mediocre quarterback because some teams don't have it so good. But once he starts getting injured, it's like, okay, boom, there's our excuse. We need to move on and get someone better. But Kittle, you're thinking we got the best tight end in the league. This is a top 5 player in the league. He's such a huge asset. He might be our best player on offense, or he is our best player on offense. And now you're going to use the same logic to really push him out of town, which is only fair. I mean, because really he was the biggest bargain in the league the first 3 years of his career, him and Mahomes. But now since he's gotten paid, he's becoming honestly an albatross on this team. For what he gives them, the amount of time he misses, and what they pay him, he's a problem. Real quick, let me just bring up his contract. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Right now, he's not expensive. He's at 5.4 for his cap number this year. Next year, it goes to 16. Then it's 16.3. Then it's 18. This is going to get bad if he keeps missing time. Really, it's not even bad yet. He's still cheap, believe it or not. Next year, he's going to be super expensive. So he's not going.
The point I'll make on this, and this is it's the same point why I wasn't for drafting Kyle Pitts, is that the position he plays tight end, you can find really good tight ends all over. Like half the tight ends in the league like didn't even play tight end before. The guy in the Washington Redskins was a quarterback and was like sitting on his couch, and they're like, "Hey, you want to play tight end?" And they called him, and now he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, and half the tight ends in the league are like that. So, like, George Kittle's a really good player, but he's replaceable. Like, tight end is a replaceable position. You can find them. You can find tight ends late. You can find tight ends from another position and turn them into tight end. you can go to a different sport and get a tight end, basketball and get a tight end in the league. Like it's not an impossible. Like you can find these guys, and so to me that makes George Kittle expendable if he's not going to play or if he keeps getting.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, and it's just so interesting. As last year, you're thinking, man, Kittle's just getting started. You know, he got to the Super Bowl. He's going to be around a long time, and now it's like, where is his career at? I mean, a point I wanted to make that we haven't said yet is they're saying at least 3 weeks. We have no idea how much time he's going to miss. It's a calf injury. It's the same injury that Jimmy has. And when teams say calf and it starts lingering, I'm thinking Achilles because they're connected. And I don't know if I were a player and something was sore on me in that general area, I'd be freaked out about it, especially if I were 28 and I was 250 pounds and I had a lot of G-forces on all my joints when I was running around and my foot just broke last year for no good reason. So maybe with both Jimmy and George Kittle, you're worried about something more serious. So don't rule out the possibility that he could miss 5 games, 8 games, the whole freaking year. We don't know. We're in the dark. Of course, the Niners aren't going to tell us.
And you know, they're Niners players. They never have setbacks. Like so, 3 weeks can never turn into 6 weeks. You know, I hope they get Ross Dwelly involved in you know, like finally they actually threw him the ball in the end zone last week and they came up with a good result. You know, Kyle.
Because the only guys that really have involved in their passing game right now are Debo, Kittle, and Juszczyk. That's it.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
they should get Kyle. Get Ross Dwelly involved.
Yeah, I mean Ross Dwelly's probably a more reliable player right now than Brandon Ayuk, than Trent Sherfield. I mean, nothing against Brandon Ayuk, but Ross Dwelly will be in the right place at the right time and catch the ball.
Right,
You can't say that about a lot of the Niners players.
He'll win contested, and he'll win contested balls. He won't.
There's so
he's
many
not going to outrun
ways
somebody.
You can use him.
Yeah. He'll win
also, people having a tough time catching Trey Lance's fastball. Well, that's your surest-handed receiver on the team. He is. If there's one guy who can catch Trey Lance's sideways knuckle puck, it's him. Yeah, okay, let's keep going with George Kittle. We got a lot of George Kittle. We're going to come to these questions in a minute too. This was wild. This happened yesterday, and it would happen during a live stream with me and Rob, and someone brought it up, and I was like, man, this didn't really freaking happen. It did. It happened. Coach, I'm sure you know what happened, but for the people, the uninitiated out there, apparently someone in Arizona asked Cardinals pass rusher Marcus Golden, I don't know if there's some similarities between Trey Lance and Kyler Murray, and Golden scoffed, and he was like, Trey ain't no Kyler, which is exactly what you would expect someone on the Cardinals to say about that. And I don't know if it was Bleacher Report, Gridiron, something. It just made it a thing on Twitter or Instagram. George Kittle liked it, pressed like. Everyone saw it. It was caught in 4K, and then he unliked it, apparently, and tried to sneak away. I don't know. Maybe he fat-fingered it. Maybe he was just scrolling, and things happen. Anyway, there's so many different interpretations. One interpretation is that he agreed with Marcus Golden, and that interpretation is supported by months of tepid, at best, praise for Trey Lance. The other interpretation is he's liking it as locker room material. Like, okay, I'll remember this. I guess I'm not asking you to interpret it, but the fact that there's so many different interpretations isn't good. I don't think it's not good. It feels like a distraction.
I mean, you'd like for a guy that's supposed to be a leader of your team to think about the repercussions of liking that.
Thank you. Debo didn't do that.
No, Debo didn't. And but the thing is, if Debo did, because of the comments that Debo's made, you would think. I would immediately think if Debo liked it, it would be like he liked it because he's going to be like, oh, I'm gonna show these guys, you know, like.
But no one else on the 49ers liked it except for Kittle.
But because of what you said before, is that at best Kittle's been very tepid about Lance. So coupling with him liking it makes it seem like I don't like.
Here's the thing: if you were Trey Lance and you saw that, what would your reaction be?
WTF.
What? And I wouldn't say like I don't. I don't feel like Kittle's taking a shot at me, but I don't know. And the
No,
fact
I
that
don't
I
know
gotta
either.
wonder isn't good. Like, what the hell is that, man? You might want to call him and be like, George, what? But you're 21 and he's 28. Can you even do that? I don't know.
Yeah, and the fact that George is one of the this is one of the things that like if this was like a lesser player on the team, I would expect one of the guys like George Kittle to call that guy up and be like, "Yo, if this happened to I'm just trying to think like if Trent Sherfield liked it or like Brendan Ayuk liked it, like I would expect George Kittle to call that guy up and be like, "Yo, what are you doing? Why'd you like that post? Like, what's up with that? We don't roll like that." Because it's George Kittle, no one's gonna question him. I mean, did Kyle call him up and be like, "What are you doing? I'm like that." Like,
And here's the reason why there's at least a question as to where his motivation is, like where he's coming from. Because we're not the only, everyone can sense that he's less than enthusiastic about the 49ers trying to replace Jimmy Garoppolo. They're very close friends. They've played together for 5 years, and he's made it real clear that he's not into it, at least for this year. And I mean, he hasn't even hit it. So now that you do this, I mean, you might be having Trey Lance's back, but that's not really the first thing that pops in anyone's mind. And I wonder what popped into Trey's mind. And it's weird to have a 21-year-old making his first career start thinking, man, I mean, we have no idea what's going on in this locker room. Yeah. I'm not in there, but I wonder if this came out of left field or if this is something that Trey Lance, this is a dynamic that they're working with right now.
It's not a good look as a leader and as a leader in the locker. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's not good for you. Want to do everything.
It's an awful look. It's a horrendous look, and it seems unprofessional from George Kittle. He's going to need to answer for that, and he's going to have to say he'll say something like, "I was just he'll say the right thing," but he shouldn't have made it a topic. It was a mistake.
And
he should know
better. I hope that George called Trey Lance immediately after that and had some sort of conversation. I would hope that occurred.
It's his birthday today, George Kittle.
Happy birthday,
George.
But the other thing, it's not a good look for leadership, but it's also ultimately a bad business decision too, because Trey Lance is the most important figure on this team, including guys on the coaching staff. Because if Trey Lance ends up being what people think he is, he's going to supersede everybody. So if Trey Lance ends up being a star and he wants George Kittle gone, George Kittle's gone. If Trey Lance ends up being a star and he doesn't like Kyle's gone. Like, more than likely. Because that's how NFL big-time quarterbacks roll.
I mean, if Lance is that good.
Right, if Lance is that good.
According to Kittle, he ain't no Kyler.
Yeah, Lance is actually – someone wrote this. Lance is actually like 3 Kylers.
It's true. It really is. Have you seen Major League?
Yeah.
It's been a while. But the premise of the story is they're, a bad team has been given up on by the ownership and they're kind of tanking. But they have this guy, Charlie Sheen, the closer, the wild man. And he throws 100 miles an hour, but he can't control it. But he's like the most exciting thing they have. Well, he's one of their better players. And he has beef with the third baseman. Remember that? Third baseman hates him. Third baseman was the star of the team. He's a bit of a has-been. Hasn't been playing as well. I'm not saying Kittle's a has-been, but that whole dynamic, the young guy who's a little goofy and throws super hard, and the diva third baseman who doesn't appreciate the spotlight going away. So I don't know. Now there was a little extra dynamic between those two. I'm not going to get into it, but you know what Charlie Sheen's character did in the bar. I'm just saying. Like he was definitely he was wrong. He was wrong. And I'm not saying that Lance has done anything like that because that's crazy. But you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
It'd be funny. What Lance could do would be funny is if in the next couple of weeks if Ross Dwelly pops off. Like, oh, George Kittle, you don't like me? And Lance is,
I like Dwelly.
Yeah.
Dwelly's my guy. Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, let's answer one. Iggy coach Noah Johnston, what can we get for George Brittle and Jimmy Hurt all the time in a trade? That's a good question. Let's put Jimmy to the side. Let's just talk George Kittle. Should the 49ers trade George Kittle? I asked this for a lot of reasons. Hold on. Obviously the injury stuff, 2 years in a row. But then this thing with Trey Lance. the fact that there is a transition happening now or pretty soon from Garoppolo to Lance, and George Kittle has seemed resistant to it so far. Those are two reasons. Should the 49ers also the fact that he's going to make $16 million next year and he's only making $5 million right now.
What's
That's three reasons. Should the Niners trade George
contract?
Also, the fourth reason is that they can because the trade deadline isn't here yet. Okay, that's 4 reasons. Should the Niners trade George Kittle?
Is it a tradable? Is it a tradable contract? Well, is it? What's
this year it is. Like he's only making $5 million this year, so people can fit him under their cap now. And if they feel like, hey, this guy's a great player and he's only got a couple of injuries and the Niners are crazy, I think absolutely people could afford him. Yes.
So here's the thing, and I thought about this morning too, because one of the guys that we've talked about on this show, like when we talk together, I think you and I both like the idea of trading Debo. Yeah. But who's the one guy that's in Lance's corner? It's
Debo.
And it's Debo.
Who's the one guy that's on a freaking tear? Debo. Who's the best player on the team right now? Probably Debo.
I think it's
I mean, no offense to Trent Williams.
I would probably say Trent Williams, but
Trent Williams is great too. But those two.
Debo's playing awesome.
Yep.
So like you want to fill this team if Lance is where you're going is your future and he should be spend 3 first rounds on him. Then you want to fill him with guys that are going to boost him up and boost his confidence up. And you want guys that are going to be healthy. So if someone offers you something good enough, I would consider. And like I just said, you can.
Okay, so hold on. What is that? Where does this conversation start? A first? You're trying to get first back for Trey Lance.
I would love to get a first, but
you trade George Kittle for a 2022 first round pick.
I don't think you can get it. I don't think you can get it.
How the mighty have fallen, George. Did you hear that? Not worth a first. That's rough.
Can we think of a tight end that was traded for a first?
That's a good point. Who would be interested in George Kittle? A lot of teams. No?
Yeah, but a first. I don't think he's going for a first, man. I think a third maybe.
Oh, is it worth it at a third? Because here the reason to sell low on him would be, well, he's going to keep getting hurt. Like you think it's bad now. It's like the Jimmy stuff. Like, you think it's bad now. His value's only going to drop. You could argue that.
Can you? My thing is, it's tight end. I think it's a replaceable position. I think you can find productive. Now, are you going to find a guy that can block as well as Kittle? Or
here's the problem though. You ain't trading Kittle while he's hurt. So if he's hurt through the trade deadline, he's staying. Right? I mean, no one's going to trade him. He could have an Achilles injury, and you trade for him, and then he doesn't pass could he even pass a physical right now?
I would assess this as, okay, what's his health going to look like before the trade deadline? 1. 2, how well is Lance playing? 3, how well is Ross Dwelley playing?
I mean, he's going to be playing really, really well.
If Dwelley is balling out and Lance is on the rise, I would definitely consider it. And I would even take a third because give me more cap space, man. I can replace.
Real quick, the deadline is the 2nd of November. That's 3 weeks from Tuesday. And again, there's a lot of factors at play here. We don't know what's going on internally in the locker room, that dynamic between Kittle and Lance. It may not even be about Lance, but the dynamic between Kittle and the front office or his feelings about the direction of the team. If he's not in Lance's corner and he's going to be a malcontent, that's another reason. Like, honestly, addition by subtraction at that point. If he doesn't want to be a part of a Lance-led team, then you got to get rid of him. And I don't know that that's the case. Hopefully it's not. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that it's not, because I think that would be horribly unprofessional and weird. Why are you picking sides on a quarterback? Why are you choosing Jimmy, dude? Like, is he just because you're your friend? Because he's your buddy? Because he went to Nashville one time?
It's not about friends.
Did you even invite Trey to Nashville? I bet Trey would go to Nashville.
This business isn't about friends. It's about production. So,
yeah, suck it up. NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC says Kittle and Kyle to Jacksonville for a second and a third. Kittle and Kyle together. That's not going to happen. But I appreciate look, Kyle seems more on. It seems like people are kind of changing their tune on Lance. They're like, well, we don't know when Jimmy's coming back. And we know Lance wants to play. So maybe we should embrace the guy that wants to be here and wants to play. Not that Jimmy does it. I just know that Lance does. So maybe, I don't know. Seems like everyone else is finding positive things to say about Trey Lance. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just felt like saying
and that. The other thing is, and I would ask you that everyone as a fan, because it seems George Kittle's always hurt. Like, would you rather have a guy that's maybe like 70% of George Kittle, but he only misses 2 games a year instead of 8?
Hold on. Let me just explain the risk of not trading George Kittle. He'll be 29 next year. He missed 8 games last year. We don't know how many games he'll miss this year, and he's going to cost you $16 million. So him being on the bench, every game he doesn't play is a huge freaking problem. It's hard to win without him in the future.
Right.
He's taking up a ton. He's taking up a ton of cap space.
And like, I know a lot of people talk like the salary cap is some like myth or whatever, but it's not. Like, if Jimmy wasn't on this team right now and they had the extra cap space, they could have gotten Stephon Gilmore for a 5th round draft pick, or
they're paying George Kittle to be like a guy who gets 1,000 receiving yards every year. He's getting that kind of money, and if he's only getting you 400 because he's hurt all the time, that's a huge problem. A huge problem. Right. Yeah. You have to be you can't be sentimental here. I know you love George Kittle and you thought he was going to be one of the all-time great 49ers, but you have to take a very sober look at him. What can you really expect from him going forward? If this is the new norm, if it's get hurt week 1 every year and battle through an 80% health season and miss a few games, that's not good enough. They're paying for Travis Kelce, which is just relentless consistency.
Travis Kelce always plays. Never hurt. Like, I don't remember.
Also, again, if he's not on the Trey Lance bandwagon, he's got to go. He's got to go.
Absolutely.
Got to go. Dylan says Marcus was comparing Kyler and Trey's physical abilities when he said that. What he said got spun into something it wasn't meant to be. Hey, Marcus Golden is not on trial here. He's free to see what he wants, and he's right. He's fair. He's correct in what is his assessment. But Kittle is the one. You're like, what are you doing? Whose team are you on? When can you be back in the locker room? Probably never. My prediction is that the NFL will never let media back in the locker room. The thing about the NFL, great game, #1 league in sports league in America. They're so bad at promoting their product. It's good in spite of them. It's popular in spite of them. They could do such a better job at bringing not the media just in, but the fans promoting their players. But they don't want to promote their players. They want their players to be as faceless and replaceable as possible. The only players who get promoted are like 3 quarterbacks. Everyone else, it's just the shield. It's just the league. And, let me say what sucks about not letting the reporters in the locker room. When the reporters go in the locker room, you could go up to any freaking player. And that means some player that the team wouldn't necessarily promote. Jimmy Ward in the past. Guys who don't get promoted by the team. Now, it's 4 guys a day that the team decides. And that may not help certain players. Players want promotion. Players want to be in the newspaper. I mean, that helps. The more they're written about, the more that money they get, all that stuff. So now, like, it's all up to the team, and the team has its own agenda, right? Because they know if they promote certain players, they're going to have to pay them. So they'll probably promote players they've already paid, and it's very cliquey and doesn't help those players. So it's really in the players' interest to let the media back in. But the league is always like, cover us from 8 miles away, please. Please write about us every day, but give us 8 miles. That's social. It's just an accepted socially distant radius. And don't breathe on me. When can you be back in the locker room? Yeah, thank you for asking that question. It's look at how the NBA promotes and the access they give their writers. Like, they get people. You get so much face time with the stars in the NBA, and that's because they have a whole different attitude. Jimmy got Kittle injured before and now, but maybe it's better for him to sit out Trey's debut. Let's avoid something energy, Dwelly, and Hammer are balling it out. I'm not going to blame Jimmy for Kittle's injury. I think that's a little weird.
I mean,
it's a little weird.
If you look at all Kittle's injuries, it's not like all of them are because Jimmy's throwing high balls. Now, I think does Jimmy throw high balls and it doesn't help matters, but that's not why he's getting injured.
And it's not anyone's fault. It's just what happens to football players. And I think people were he got paid after the Super Bowl. People were very emotional after the Super Bowl. And I think the Niners fans made an emotion. You have to give George. He's earned it. Look at what he's done. You haven't paid him any money. He was a 5th-round pick. You don't make decisions that way. And I fell victim to it too. You got to pay George. I said pay him $20 million a year. Whoa. You can't make decisions like that. You really have to say, I'm paying you for what you can do in the future, not what you did in the past. Sorry. And probably had we not been so close to the team, had we been guys who covered the Jets and just looked from afar, being like, yeah, it's a mistake. Come on, look at how he plays. Like, what is the shelf life there? Also, what are you expecting after he gets paid?
Right.
Human nature. Kittle's out for 3 weeks. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know. Hey, if Jimmy Garoppolo is back, it could be 3 weeks. Hey, Mom, Kittle has 15 jobs. Dude is overworked. Hey, man. Hey, Mon. What's up, Mon?
Hey, Mon. I don't know. That's a reference to there's a skit in the Living Color called Hey Mon, and it's a Jamaican family, and they all have like 25 jobs. Like the daughter will bring home a boyfriend, and the father will be like, "What does he do?" And she'll be like, "Oh, he's a doctor." And then he'll be like, "Well, what else? What else does he do?" No, that's it.
That's funny. In Living Color was great. Who was in Living Color? Jim Carrey.
David Wayne, Jamie Foxx. Yeah.
Hell of people, right? Was Jamie Foxx on it? No.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx was.
Wow.
Yeah. Guys, if you ever want to watch and laugh your ass off, watch some old in Living Color.
Realistically, we could get 2 firsts for Kittle. Oh.
No.
This is what hurts. You probably could have at one point, but now I don't know about that. QB competition always splits the locker room. If you want to fix some of the injuries, get the O-line to hit their blocking assignments. That's true. I feel like what Kyle's been trying to avoid is a quarterback competition, maybe for this very reason. So, Trey, take the job and end the controversy.
So on that, I don't think most of the offensive line issues, I don't think are blocking assignments. I think the guy that has assignment issues is their guard. The other Lincoln Tomlinson. Lincoln Tomlinson is the guy that has assignment issues. He won't see guys that are crossing over and stuff like that.
That's been his issue since he's got here. He cannot see someone that's not right in front of him. It's like he's got blinders on. It's 5 years in a row. I've noticed it, man. Can't pick up a stunt to save his freaking life. Although if the dude is right in front of him, he's a monster.
Yeah, and Alex Mack and McGlinchey can't handle things physically, so it's not an assignment issue.
Or Brunskill.
Right. They can't physically handle. They need to be physical, and that's not really something you can correct.
Tomlinson can. He just literally he won't see things. It's wild. Yeah. Jody says, Grant, yeah, we got you, Jody. We talked about it for a while. It's a terrible look. He should know better. Trade Kyle for Urban.
Yeah,
no.
No.
No. If Trey Lance gets a strong Niner O-line tomorrow, he will be successful. What I like about quarterback, you're never going to get a strong offensive line in the NFL. You just don't. It's really hard. But what I like about quarterbacks like Lance and Kyler, they can succeed in spite of that stuff. They protect themselves to a large degree, and I think you need that a lot.
He can make the offensive line look better.
Yeah, make their stats a lot better. Yeah,
right. And what he can do, and what he can do is he can put some indecisiveness in the defensive line. Like he's making the defensive line indecisive, which will help the offensive line, right? Because he'll take away some of the aggression of the defensive line, and that will help his offensive line.
Ninerbot says, please, Ninerbot says, please, Grant, for the love of God, change your annoying intro. Almost got beat up by my roommate when I was watching your videos at 3 a.m. with those blaring horns. No, I will not change my intro because annoying and blaring is my brand, and I think it captures it quite well. So I'm sorry that you almost got beat up, but you should smack him back. Don't take that. Don't take that.
Go to the gym. Go to the gym. So
yeah, dude. I mean, it's not his fault. It's not your fault that you have terrific taste in football analyst. John says last year Jimmy got Kittle hurt. I was referring negative energy by Kittle during Trey's debut. Negative energy. Yeah, well, he's not going to have it. Now he can watch in the luxury box with Jimmy. They can sit next to each other and they can take notes. They can pass notes. They can whisper. They can snicker. They can joke. They can do all of that fun stuff. And I hope there is a camera on both of them. Whenever Trey does something good, they're like, oh. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like Draco Malfoy and his minions watching Harry Potter play Quidditch. You know, it's like, oh, he got snitched. Dang. You know, it's gonna be like that. Wasn't Jimmy Graham traded for a first round to Seattle? He was.
All right, well, there you go. There you go.
Hold on. Let's look it up. How old was he? 20. Oh my God, he was the same age. He was the same freaking age. Now, the thing about Jimmy Graham, he didn't miss games on New Orleans. He played like all the games on New Orleans, and then he started missing games in Seattle. Nah, he didn't really miss games in Seattle either. He just got bad. Nah, he didn't have this issue. He missed no games. He was kind of Jimmy Graham has 2 touchdown catches in his career. Kittle has 14. That stat still trips me out. How he could get so much accolades without scoring. That's wild. Wild. It's like a soccer player who's lauded as the best soccer player in the world for his crosses. Or like, you know, it's like, you don't score though? Really? Oh, okay. That's cool. That's cool though. But I like your highlight reel. It's nuanced.
So like the teams, I don't know what the cap situation is for in the NFL, but like, you know, the teams that you'd want to trade Kittle to will be teams that, unless you do it in the offseason, but that are pushing for a playoff run. So, I mean, you're not going to trade him in your division. So Seattle, Arizona, Rams are out. Seattle doesn't even have first round.
No, you didn't trade the AFC, man. It has to be out of the conference.
Yeah. Kansas City has their tight end, and they have cap space issues, so I don't think Kansas City is an option. I don't. Maybe the Chargers. The Chargers have cap space.
Send the Chargers.
There you go.
That's right. First round pick. I like it. Bring back
the second.
offense.
I would take a second. Like everyone's still caught up in first. Like first are premium picks, and it's hard to get. It's hard to get, especially for those veteran players. Like you really have to play a premium position. And like you said, Jimmy Graham played all the time.
I could get a first for him if I was the general manager. I know I could. Okay. I could do it.
Okay.
I could do it. I drive a hard bargain. I don't know if John could. I don't think John could, but me and you, we could do it. We could pull it off. He's a team guy. Grant, tell us what might be some of the elaborate packages Kyle may have drawn up for Lance tomorrow. What can we expect to see? I have no idea, but I freaking hope there's a whole lot of play action. I just want, please, Kyle. I mean, they've used him in so many shotgun spread formations. If that's how they wanted to play offense with him, you should have just drafted Justin Fields. That's what he did in college. I thought the whole thing with Lance is that he's like zone read plus. He's zone read plus like the Matthew. He's supposed to be able to do what Matthew Stafford does for the Rams. That play action down the field stuff. He did it in the preseason. Please, can we please see that, Kyle?
What Kyle likes to do, and what we all thought Trey Lance would bring an extra added element is that Kyle likes to run a play and then run plays off of that play and make them all look the same. So
yes.
Whether it's a stretch and then running things off the stretch, play action stretch, and now you can he adds elements, and so he's making it all look the same. So you have to pick, as a defense, you have to pick you have to play this everything. So he's making you play everything or overcompensate in one area, and he's going to kill you in another area. So what Trey does is Trey adds the quarterback run game and the deep shots to all the things that Kyle does. So now he can run play, like if you run stretch zone, he can run play action off of that and take shots now. And he can run now with Trey Lance, he can run quarterback pulls, he can run boots, all that stuff off of that same play. And what we would like to see Sunday, at least I would like to see, is run your stuff and then run Lance off of that. Like, use the quarterback run game off of that. Like, use off the stuff that you're doing. And what the Niners have to do is they have to be successful in some of those areas in order for that to work. Like, because, if they're not able to run the ball, then the Cardinals can overcompensate and then to handle the deep shots and to handle the quarterback and not
real quick though. I mean, like, what I don't want them to do is to make him throw a bunch of short passes, because he's not going to be as efficient doing that as Jimmy. What he can do, he wants to throw down the field. And if they haven't called throws that go more than 20 yards down the field this year, really.
Right.
If you complete 4 of 9 throws past 20 yards, that's great. 44% on throws past 20 yards. That's like 44% from 3 in the NBA. It's really good. And it seems like he's the kind of guy that can do that. So instead of asking him to complete 75% of his short throws, which he won't, ask him to complete 40. It's exactly what the Panthers did with Cam Newton early in his career. Let's go down the field, because you have a very strong arm and you're not particularly accurate anywhere, but you can make these throws.
Kirk Cousins got the Cardinals on a deep pass with, like, the guy was wide open on, like, the second play.
Yep.
So they're not invulnerable.
Corners freaking suck in Arizona. Go for it. Take shots. Because Jimmy would never exploit a team with weak corners. It's just he'll exploit a team with weak safeties, weak linebackers, but not weak corners. Trey can do it, theoretically.
They'll probably give it to Lance too, because they're not going to respect it until he does it. So
they're going to expect the Niners to have no confidence in him and come out, running the ball over and over and over.
They're probably going to play him real honest. Honestly, they're going to play him really honest, and they're not going to hug. I don't think they'll hug the line of scrimmage like they do Jimmy, but they're going to hug it because they're going to try to take away the run, and then they'll probably going to pressure Lance, because that's what you do with the young quarterbacks. You pressure them until they show you can handle it. So expect to see a lot of zero coverage.
That would be such a mistake. That would be such a mistake. I'm a defensive coordinator in training, but the way and you got a lot more experience than me, but just from a theoretical standpoint, you could try blitzing him. But that makes it defines the read so quickly, and it allows him to get the ball out of his hands so quickly in the pocket if he does it right. What I would want him to do is to hold the ball in the pocket and go through your progressions. Like, I have a good 4-man pass rush. I want 7 in coverage, and show me that you can find the right guy. Because I don't think you can, Trey, if that is your real name. I don't think you can. It's your first start. You're a little rusty. You're a little young. Play quarterback. I'm not gonna rush you. I'm not going to speed up. I'm not gonna let you find your hot routes. I'm not letting you dump it off. Go through your progressions. Now, of course, you mix it up, but that's what I would do.
They might start with that, but if they're not getting home, I would think that they're gonna.
They got Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt. You don't think they're gonna get home? Mike McGlinchey
and the Niners offense
having a great year. Mike having such a good year. I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, no, you're right, because usually they say you blitz a young guy, bring pressure. That's the first thing you do, right? Make him prove that he can beat that. But if he does prove that he can beat that, make him prove that he can just play quarterback in the pocket. Because it seems to me that he scrambles a lot.
He does. If you want, but if I recall in that game last week, like he didn't exit the pocket until he was like he stayed in the pocket for a pretty long time. Like,
you see him go 1, 2, 3.
He's not like, oh, it's not there, let me bail out of here. Like, he's trying. He's beating the defense and making it read. Like, he's all the time, but he'll sit in that pocket.
That's true. That's true. I'm curious to see what Vance Joseph does. He's a very clever defensive coordinator. He's a good coach. So I'm curious to see what he thinks is the right thing to do against this type of a rookie quarterback making his first start. Must be kind of scary to make this game plan, right? It's like, I think I'm doing the right thing, but I don't know.
You really don't know, and that's one of the advantages
Yeah.
that's really one of the advantages that the Niners have is, and Kyle has is that they don't really know. They know from his college film and from preseason that they have an idea of what his strengths and weaknesses are, but they don't really know. I mean, the game, they're gonna have to like feel the waters and see how it go and see how things go. Like they know what to do versus Jimmy Garoppolo, but they only have an idea of what to do versus Trey Lance.
Well, that's a really good segue into our next topic. Cody, we're coming back to you. The 49ers X factor against the Cardinals. Obviously, it's Trey Lance. It's the fact that the 49ers have a quarterback making his first career start. And while we've talked about this for months, but the Jimmy Garoppolo tendencies, the book on Jimmy, it's out there. And it wasn't out there in 2017 when he was going on that winning streak and when he was lighting it up. People were kind of still figuring out what he could and couldn't do. Now everyone knows. And the teams that have faced him the most have the most success against him, like Seattle. Anyway, we've told you what the Jimmy Garoppolo thing. We know we've talked about that. Trey, it's just guessing now. It's a mobile quarterback. We've seen a little bit here and there. Do the best you can. Hard to game plan for him. And then also, even though he's not ready, he's not a finished product. He's still the best athlete on the field, or one of them. And he can run, he can throw, he can do the most. He's the queen on the chessboard, and he's really dynamic. Gives the Niners a fighting chance.
He does. And the Cardinals, I looked to, they haven't played a running quarterback yet this year. They played Tannehill, they played Trevor Lawrence, they played Stafford, and they played Cousins.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice watching your own guy run around and all that and make crazy throws. But then when you have another guy on the other side that can do the same thing, and their defense has been had. They won a close game against the Vikings to open the year. I think it's like recency bias because we all saw them hammer the Rams last week, but they did. Jacksonville gave them a game at first. Jacksonville. So it's not like they've been running rug shop through the league. Now they're still good. They're 4-0 and they're a good team. But like let's not pretend they don't have weaknesses, right? Because they're like you said, their corners aren't.
Giving up 5.4 yards per carry. They did shut down Derrick Henry week 1. Giving up 5.4 yards per carry. That's usually not the recipe to beat the 49ers. So they're going to have to score a lot of points or fix that. Arizona.
I think the Niners defense, as it's shown, it's going to give you some effort. It's going to give you it'll make some timely stops. But the thing is, just with this team, is what's the offense going to do? Like, you got to do something in order to make good off of those defensive stops. And you can't expect this Niners defense to come out and just shut down the Cardinals because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
One more thing, too. Like, the Cardinals have faced the zone read. They face it every day in practice. They faced that. They face it in training camp. They faced the play action stuff. The Kyle Shanahan play action stuff. Minnesota, LA, same thing. What they haven't faced this year is someone like Lance who's going to be in the pistol. What's interesting about the pistol is it's the one formation where you can kind of do everything. You can do the zone read. You can also do like play action where you turn your back to the defense. Not like little play action that like turn and boot. You can do pretty much freaking everything. And there aren't that many quarterbacks who do that. I mean, Kyler does it. Justin Fields does it. This is really like the Colin Kaepernick skill set. And it's rare. And they haven't faced it yet. It might be something that's tough for them at first, the pistol and all the little things that they can do off of that.
Right. And Kirk Cousins,
the action game is so much better from the pistol than from the shotgun. Sorry. So much better. So much better.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe Kyle Shanahan uses some extra motivation because Kyle, this guy has a better record than you now. And, they're talking about, this guy he's 4-0 and might be the best, the best guy after Sean McVay in your conference. So, maybe use that as motivation to show this guy up.
And I know everyone associates the pistol with Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh, Colin Kaepernick, but if you remember, it was Kyle Shanahan who did it first, because in 2012 RG3 started week 1 and Colin Kaepernick didn't. They were doing it in Washington, and the way I felt covering the team here was they were like, dang, they beat us to the punch. We could do that. We want to do that. We're going to do that. But we didn't do it. We didn't have the conviction. We have Alex Smith. Alex Smith is good. And then when they saw the success that Washington was having, I think they really were like, we got to get Colin Kaepernick on the field. They started playing both quarterbacks. And then when Alex Smith got hurt, they were like, okay, perfect. This is our opportunity.
And RG3 was super efficient that year. I mean, for a rookie.
The whole offense was the pistol. It was like, and RG3 didn't run the pistol in college. He was a spread offense shotgun guy. And Kyle Shanahan's like compromise was, we're not going to do that, but we're going to do the pistol, which is kind of like a hybrid of a college offense and an NFL offense, right?
Yeah, and he can run he can
run all every year in college. It was the Nevada thing, but RG3 didn't.
Yeah.
And that's why the Niners did it, because Kaepernick did it. Kyle did it because he kind of saw maybe Greg Roman did too, but Kyle understood what there's, me and my dad are a play action based offense. This is a way for us to kind of bring play action into the new age with these.
Yeah, you can still run your stretch zone out of that. All that you can run. You can run all the stuff.
You often see people. I like standing up, but you often see people in the pistol get the ball and turn, or turn to do a full boot. Like you can't really. You don't ever see that in the shotgun. No, because no.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think you probably will start to see more of that in.
I think we'll see a lot of pistol against the Cardinals. It's gonna be like 2000. We're gonna party like it's 2012. It's gonna be really interesting.
They should know, but they should have a list of plays. As with any backup in the league, you should know what all your quarterbacks like, and that should be incorporated in. And when those guys end up starting, that's got to be incorporated in your offense. That when those guys are going. So it's the same system, but it should vary from quarterback to quarterback. Obviously, Lance has a different skill set, but there should be things just as a different quarterback that he's more comfortable with, that he's going to I like this, I like that. Put that in your offensive game plan because he's comfortable with it.
Okay. So this is going to be wild.
Hold on. I did want to say one thing about Lance is I think, and what I think could be an X factor is, and he seems to have this tendency, and this is maybe the one thing I'm really excited and super curious to see if it continues to trend out, is he seems to take care of the football. And if he does that against Arizona, it's going to give them an advantage. If he just does that alone, if he doesn't turn the ball over but completes 50% of his passes and doesn't need to throw for 300, but if he has 250 yards and completes 52% and throws for 2 touchdowns but doesn't turn the ball over, the Niners are probably in that game.
Yeah. Okay. This is interesting because I feel like Niner fans are split still. Some of them really don't think Trey Lance is ready and are going to be looking for confirming evidence in this game. Other ones think he should have been starting all along and are going to be looking for confirming evidence in this game. This is a really good team. It's the number 1 offense in the league, Arizona, and a hell of a defense too, even if their stats don't show that they're elite. They have elite players on this defense. If Trey Lance loses this game and is inconsistent, does that mean he's not ready? How good of a gauge will this game be, or a barometer?
To me, I think Trey Lance can only make himself look really good in this game. He can't make himself look worse, because let me ask you a question. Who would you pick to win this game if Jimmy Garoppolo was a starter?
The Cardinals.
And would it
remember that, Niner fans? This is a game the Niners would be about 5-point underdogs no matter which quarterback is starting. So when the game ends, of course, we're going to focus our analysis on Trey Lance, but it can't all be they lost because Lance, assuming they lose. Because the fact is they're not as good as the Cardinals right now.
Right. If he And when you look at, if you take the Detroit game away, like Jimmy hasn't been really playing that well. Like
No.
his QBR is very
He had
low.
that beautiful drive at the end of the Packers. That was
It's in the
great.
fifth.
One of the
It's
better
in the
moments of
50.
his career. But the whole game, he did nothing in the first half against the Eagles, nothing in the first half against the Packers, nothing in the first half against the Seahawks, nothing. 3 weeks in a row. That's his pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the expectation if Jimmy was playing wouldn't be high either. So Trey Lance's first game is against the division leading Arizona Cardinals, the only team in NFL right now that's left that's undefeated. One of the better quarterbacks in and he's in the MVP race in Kyler Murray.
And off the number one rated offense that could put up 35 points.
Right. So and if Jimmy was in, I wouldn't expect much from him either.
No.
Now, if Lance, for me, like not having a good game would be Lance like being like 11 of 30 for 110 or 100. But if he throws for 230 or whatever, like Jimmy didn't even break 200 in so like
It's true. Adjust your expectations accordingly. Cody, do you think it's smart to trade Jimmy and assume that Lance will stay healthy? I mean, Sudfeld. Nate Sudfeld. That's terrifying to me. Yeah, it's terrifying to me too. I don't think, again, the premise here is like, should the Niners trade Jimmy? Like 8 teams are calling him. I don't think got to worry about trading Jimmy. I think he'd be a good backup for Trey Lance, and I think that's, not necessarily a choice that they have to make. That's their backup if he's not their starter for this year. Yeah. So thank you, Cody. A couple more. I think here. Miguel says George Kittle ain't trying to play with Trey Lance. He'd rather sit next to Jimmy G and hold his hand. Trade George Kittle. Wow. Dang, George. That's messed up. That's messed up, George. People's tight end. Hav B says, honestly, if the Niners wanted to win now and build for the future, should they have took Fields? He would have been more prepared and still has upside. Don't have to trade up for Fields. Well, he went 11. That's
I don't know. Can we let the season play out before we start making judgments?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to make judgments on Fields. I don't even want to make judgments on Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson or like
2 weeks ago, Zach Wilson looked like a bum. Now Zach Wilson looks pretty good. So maybe we should just chill.
Like, let these guys, like, they're not going to look awesome like the first game. Like, let them play football and learn. And then let's make some judgments later, like, in the year. I mean, I would even say after this year, next year, let them give them a year and then see what they look like the following year, too. I mean, yeah, you want to see – the main thing with any of these quarterbacks is you want to see progress. Like, is Zach Wilson getting better every game? Yeah. Is Trevor Lawrence getting better every game? Yeah.
And that's what we need to see from Trey Lance. Not does he beat the Cardinals. If he doesn't beat the Cardinals, he's a bum. He's not going to be – did he improve? Did he look better than last week? Because he should. He's had the week with the starters. He's going against a tougher defense, so keep that in mind. But he should look better than last week.
And
that's fair.
And Grant, that was the main thing, at least from my perspective, is why you would want to play the rookies, because – a younger player is going to get better with playing time every week. And it fits into line is why we were talking about, and I think another analyst on NFL Network or ESPN said this too, is that, if the 49ers had played Jimmy G for a season, they might have a better record, but they probably would be a stronger team at the end of the year because Lance would progress at the end of the year, and Lance, because of his physical ability, would make the team more dangerous by the end of the year. Now their record might not be as good, or they might not even make the playoffs, but they would be a better team because of Lance's evolution. And I agree with that. And so to me, there's always been no downside to starting Trey Lance. Like you're gonna get him better, which is what you need to do. Like as he grows, the team's gonna get better because of the importance of the quarterback. And I never believed this team was a Super Bowl contender in the first place. So then what do you really why are you trying to push all your chips in when I don't think you could really get the job done in the first place? So, yeah, did I think it's still in the possible cards is that they could possibly get a playoff spot, but I never really felt strongly that they can contend for a Super Bowl. So why play Jim? Like play the ring.
Okay, we got to finish up. Marcus says, you think Mosley is going to keep up with D-Hop? He couldn't last year, but he also couldn't keep up with DK Metcalf last year.
Yeah.
He did a phenomenal job against DK in the last game. I'm open-minded. That's a guy who's improving.
Mosley was on fire last week.
Yeah.
Man, Mosley, you're awesome last week. Keep it up, dude.
Yeah. And I feel like last year when he faced him, the game plan didn't do Mosley any favors. It was basically Robert Saleh being like, dude, you got no chance. So we're going to play you 15 yards off and just not give up the big play and let him catch 15 balls for 100 yards. That's what happened. This year, I think D'Amico's going to be much more aggressive with Mosley and let him sink or swim, playing right up in Hopkins' face. And it's not like Hopkins is super fast, so we'll see what happens.
No, he's not. He's different, a little bit type of different receiver than Metcalf.
Yes. More like Adams. More like Devontae.
Yeah.
Lawless Light says 3 rookies are starting, but we are in win now mode? ? Exclamation mark. Time for the Niners fans to be real. Our best players are injury prone. Rebuild is happening. Yeah, pretty much. Should have been happening. I'm nobody you need to know. Oh, how many players like Kittle wouldn't be labeled injury prone if on teams with better track records of keeping players healthy? Oh, it's the Niners' fault. That Kittle's hurt. Huh.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. If that's the case, then the Niners probably will get a first-round pick for him, right? Other people licking their chops.
Yeah.
Easy Tino says if Jimmy and Kittle don't travel with the team and aren't on the sideline, that's all you need to know. Of course they're going to – I would think they're going to be here. Are they not here?
I would assume they probably –
I would think they're going to be here.
They'll probably be in the press box hanging out.
I think so. I'm going to say what's up to him.
Yeah. What up, dog? What's up, my dog?
Making sure I didn't miss anyone. Making sure. Looking closely. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay. Well, it's time to watch this playoff game. I got to get some food. I haven't eaten since this morning. It's been a very long day, but I enjoyed the show. We're about 12 hours away, a little bit more till this game. I'm excited, man. This is going to be a turning point for the season. If this is going to be a real season or not, let's see.
Yeah,
they don't have to beat the Cardinals, but if they could compete, that would be big.
I got a question for everybody that's out there. It's like, all right, how many people out there that if Trey plays badly are gonna just post all on Twitter and be like, I told you he shouldn't have. He's not ready. And like, how many people? Like,
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in the first quarter. It happened against the Seahawks after the second throw. The second throw, he started off 0 for 2. And like on Twitter, my mentions are just, I thought you said this guy was good, Grant. This guy's a freaking bum, Grant. It's like, I'm not even a Niner fan. You're a Niner fan. And that's how you're taking this. What's the point? Why do you root for the team? I don't even root for the team, and I'm more open-minded than you.
How many people are going to post if Trey plays awesome are going to start tweeting on
if he completes his first Trent Sherfield throw, if that's in the first quarter, end of story. Yeah. No, I think remember, don't make too big of a take in the first half. I know you guys were a little rusty. It's week 5. Things happen in the second half. Usually best to save your hottest takes until the game is in hand. From experience. Just saying. From experience. Coach, I got to go. It's great to see you, though. Thank you. Really, it's 9:00 on the East Coast. I really appreciate you working with me, man. My flight got delayed, and then in Phoenix, there was like an hour-long line to get the rental car, and then there was another half-hour line to pick up the rental car. What's up with that? But I'm not complaining. I'm just blessed, living the life.
What are you rocking? What's the rental car? What are you rocking?
Nissan midsize. I try to get like the lamest rental car possible. Because if you try to look fly in a rental car, you spending hella money, and just to be in it for like 15 minutes a day. That's security.
When I went to Jackson, they got me with the Rubicon. It's pretty sweet.
Oh, they got you with the Rubicon? I'm trying to get
they hit me with the Rubicon.
I'm trying to get one of those upgrades though to Rubicon, but no one ever. I got a nice room. I'm in a suite. I'm so far away from someone hit me up. They're like, hey, we're going to watch a Giants game over here in Scottsdale. I put it in, it's 45 minutes away. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be there. Have a great time. I'm somewhere in the middle of the desert that's kind of close. I don't even know. So anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, everyone. Coach, I'll be talking to you tomorrow during the game.
Sounds good.
All right. See you guys.
All right.